Hello everyone, welcome back to another video about Age of Empires. Today we're going to be looking at hotkeys. I've been getting a lot of requests about what you guys want for my hotkeys, or what I do for my hotkeys. You guys want me to share a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. And right here I have a game, and I'm going to be showing you guys my hotkeys. But first of all, I made a list. It took me forever, so here it is, of all of the hotkeys that I use. These are the most basic ones. I'll link this in the video description if you want to check that out, but it's a lot. So I recommend if you're new to Age of Empires, or if you're new to hotkeys, if you played Age of Empires for a while, I would recommend just going little bit by little bit. And I know it looks like a lot, but most of them are kind of copies of one another. For example, a dragoon and a reuter is the Dutch version of a dragoon, but they're different buttons, so I just bind them to the same thing, and that counts as two different hotkeys, even though it's really just one. And the same thing applies to cavalry archers. So cavalry archers, dragoons, and reuters, they're all kind of really one, and war wagons as well. So it looks like a lot of hotkeys, but it really is. If you look at it, you'll see it's mostly all the same 4 or 5 letters. So it's not too complicated. But before we do anything, let's talk about the basics. The very basics. So first of all, to select a town center, I use F. And to make a villager, I use E. E is a hotkey I also use for some things. One sec, let me make a house. I think I have speed always wins on. Yeah. So I use E to train villagers. And I like that combination because F and E are relatively close to each other. So if you have lots of town centers and you want to cycle through the map making villagers, you can just go like this. It's really nice. So the next hotkey that's pretty important is when you have a villager that's inside your town center that's garrisoned in here. See, we have one. Now we have 2. You can click on it like this to get them out, or you can use a hotkey to do that much faster. And mine is W, and they automatically go to wherever your town center waypoint is. So something that's common in high level Age of Empires gameplay is, let's say I have villagers over here, but they're gathering food, but I want them to go gather the wood over here. If I were to just click over this, they would take them forever. But if I go like this, the villager can gain some walk time. And you see, he's going to start gathering resources faster than this one. And I'm going to get more resources and more efficiency. Just a very small thing, and that's a hotkey that I use to facilitate it. W to eject garrisoned units. After that, we have idle villager and idle military. I have Z set to my idle villager, and it shifts my screen to go over to see them. You see that? So I can see where they are and figure out what to do with them. I know where they are on the map. I can kind of sort things out. But I'm going to make some quick idle military units so I can show you the difference. If I have idle military units and I'm looking over here, by pressing X, I can select them without moving my screen. So if I'm fighting and I feel like I don't have enough population, I think, oh, maybe I have some idle military units somewhere, and I don't realize it. I can press X and click, and all of the tree units, without me even needing to move my screen, will go towards the fight. That way I don't lose track of units. That's a pretty common mistake among Age of Empires players. So, after that, we have Find Home City. I have it set to O, but the only reason I really have it set to that is because that's just the way it's been for me, and now I've memorized it. It's pretty important to be able to cycle through between this so you can select shipments and choose them while you're fighting. It's a lot faster than clicking on this. And you want to be able to use your mouse to micro units, and then use hotkeys to do the stuff that's less important. After that, we have Find Explore set to, what is that, a semicolon. I use that because I have the trade post set to I, which is relatively close, and the native embassy is set to J. So that allows me to use my explorer in the most efficient way possible. After that, we have attack move. Let me get some units. We are in a treaty, so we won't be able to use attack move. I don't want the computer messing with the video. However, if I were to make some Cassador, I press mouse 5, and you see this sword comes up on my icon for my cursor. And then if I press a location, if I left click a location on the map, they will walk towards that location, and if they come across any enemies that they can shoot, they will. And that is what you use to make your units fight more efficiently, because if I were to have maybe 20 Cassadors, and I order them to all shoot one Treasure Guardian, if you look, each one does 18 times 20, that is a lot. I'm too lazy to do math right now, but that's a lot of attack. They could probably all kill one tiger. However, I bet half could get pretty far as well. So if you see that, because only half of them can kill one tiger, the fact that I used all of them was a waste of shots. And when I do attack move, they attack the unit that's closest to them, which is typically more than one. So you're dividing your Cassador shots, or any shots, so your musketeer shots, your skirmisher shots, among more infantry, dealing more damage because you're not wasting damage in overkill. So that's an important use of attack move. Another use is with cavalry, with hand cav. If you order them to all attack one unit, they'll run around each other and they'll all get clogged up trying to run around, because these ones will start attacking and then these ones will have to go around. So if instead you run like this and then hit attack move in the middle of them, they will all start attacking the unit that's closest to them, and there's no idle cavalry walk time. You get the most value for your cavalry, which is really important because they represent a significant economic investment. Next up, I have the delete hotkey, which for me is space. I know a lot of you probably think that space is really accessible. Maybe it shouldn't be something that's as dangerous as delete hotkey. However, I use it to delete cows, first of all. And second of all, I have kind of these safeguards in place. By not allowing conflicts, or by kind of allowing conflicts, I'll explain that a little bit later. If I choose to, if I accidentally click on a villager and hit delete, what the? Oh, 1 second. That was embarrassing. Go like this, save, cancel, back. Okay. Now it'll open up an arsenal menu instead of using the delete function. Even though I'm pressing the same button to a Cassador as to a villager, I don't accidentally delete my villagers. I did the same thing with my town centers, because accidentally deleting town centers is a great way to lose a game. Make it set your waypoint. So my military waypoint is now set by pressing the space bar, and if I want to delete a town center, I just click the button. So those are the most basic unit hotkeys. After that, it's really small improvements to your gameplay. But I will show you something that I've done that has helped me specifically with unit training, because I know a lot of players that make many big mistakes because they weren't paying attention, because they were thinking more about keeping their unit population up than they were about actually fighting, which sucks, because I mean, it's something you have to do, but it's not something you should think too much about. So first of all, I want to talk about control groups. If you don't know, this is pretty common knowledge in Age of Empires. If you select a group of units or buildings or anything, you can have them. For example, this artillery foundry. If I hold Control and then press any numbers 1 through 9, I can set these flags. You see these flags opening up on the top of my screen. And then, when I'm not holding Control, I can just press the number 1, and I immediately select this again. And I can see the menu, and I can train stuff. And if I double tap on it, my screen shifts over to it as well. So I set my control groups to be the same every time, so that my hotkeys are complementary to the control groups that I have. I set my barracks to hotkey number 3. I set my stables to hotkey number 4. I have 1 artillery foundry for 5 and 1 artillery foundry for 6. And then the hotkeys that I'll show you are, I mean, I already showed you the paper, but this is the basic rundown of it. All skirmishers are set to E, all musketeers are set to W, and all halberdiers are set to Q. And because it's 3, the letter E, if we look on a keyboard, which I pulled one up right here, the letter E is directly underneath the number 3. So you can move very efficiently in pressing 3E and let me show you how it works even better, because if this is number 4, if we look over here, the dragoons are set to hotkey number R, hotkey letter R, I should say. So if I want to make a mix of cazadors and dragoons, which is a very common unit combo in Age of Empires, I just press 3E, 4R, and it's really, really fast and really efficient, and I don't need to put much thought into it. Look. That's pretty quick. And if I were to go into a fight, I could set the waypoints like this. But it gets even better, because with our artillery foundries, we have 1 set to 5 and 1 set to 6. And if we look at these, we have these set to T, Y, and R, which, looking at the keyboard again, are directly underneath the numbers 5 and 6 on your control groups. So by pressing 5R, you could make a horse artillery, or 5T, you can make a culverin, or 6Y, you could make a mortar. So if I wanted to make an entire army, I could just go like this at the waypoints, and there you go. I'll make a few more houses so it's a little more impressive. If you go like this. And now I have units just flooding out of here right now. That's it will make your ability to play Age of Empires so much better, because you're not going to be thinking about going over here, you moving your screen, going, clicking, then moving them back. I mean, you're literally playing blindly right now. If you're focusing on your buildings so that you can make units, you're not focusing on the fight. And if I'm focusing on the fight and you're not, I have a very big advantage over you. I mean, just imagine having to go like this, and then going like this, and then going like this, and you have to double click every time, and then going like this, and then going like this. That just sucks. It's so slow as opposed to this. I have this massive army just instantly. So that is the basic rundown of the hotkeys that I have. After this point, it starts to depend on each civilization. Different civilizations have different things that I need to put in different control groups. For example, native civilizations such as the Iroquois or the Lakota, they have a fire pit. And for the fire pit, I set it to 7. And I have the different fire pit dances set to the letters that are around 7. T, Y, U, and I. For exactly the same reason. And so that when I can play, I don't have to look at my keyboard to know to do this. So I can actually play the game and not just spam units. Now, we have a couple of these. I like to set my culverins to hotkey 1 because culverin macro is so important in the game. And with my different modes, if you'll see, the hotkey for this is Q and the hotkey for this is W. Both are right underneath 1. So I can go like this. I'll turn off speed always wins because it makes the unpacking speed unrealistic. If we go like this, I can immediately do this. And if I want to split them up, I can do 1 here and 2 here because I have 2 free hotkeys because my barracks starts at number 3 and my buildings go up after that. So I have 2 hotkeys to use my army for. I can either divide it with maybe some horse artillery for hotkey 2 and my culverins for hotkey 1, or I can just divide up my culverins for hotkeys 1 and 2. And it is pretty efficient. Just playing around with the different hotkeys there. And if I need more units, I can just do that. Which they're stuck in queue now. So that is the gist of what I do my hotkeys for. I have my build wall set to mouse 4. And, oh yeah, I almost forgot. Building construction hotkeys. It's pretty simple. I use WASD because I think that just is the most intuitive. I have barracks for W, stables for A, towers for S, and artillery foundry for D. But if you really wanted to, you could probably set wall to S if you don't have a mouse 4 button. Because that's what I use. I have a mouse 4 so I can access it very quickly. And build a forward base. And for my economy, it's exactly the same, except instead of WASD, it's UHJK, which looks exactly the same. It's just on the other side of the keyboard. So I can do that for mills, that for plantations, that for a market. Oh, I should probably say what letters they are. It's H for the plantation, which is kind of like A. S is going to be a livestock pen, or what it actually is, J. And then K will be a market, or D. And then the top one, or U, is going to be a mill. I'll pull up the keyboard again so you guys can see that more tangibly. It'd be UHJK, so that'd be mill, plantation, livestock pen, market. Pretty nice. And that's right there. To build, now there are a couple of specialty units. For example, lots of units have extra cavalry. France has gendarmes instead of hussar, and if you use the hussar hotkey, you can't do both of them, so you'll train hussar on accident. Spain has lancers, Russia has oprichniks and cossacks. So you are going to want to have, I have it set to T, which is just a little bit farther away. I mean, if these are E and R, which would be my hussar and dragoon hotkeys, then this would be my gendarme / oprichnik / lancer / whatever extra cavalry there is. And if you're the Indian civilization and you really want to use, what are they called, Sowar and Zamburaks, you could probably put Sowar right here, Zamburaks right here, and then Mahout and Hauda. And it would be all right. The Chinese civilization is especially difficult because they have just all of their different army combinations set to one building, so you'd have to have lots of different letters. But I think you could just put Old Han and the territorial army, the one that does cav and skirmishers, and then the standard one, the one that does skirmishers and Qingdao. And you'd probably be fine. But I will probably do more research into that to give a more definitive answer. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. If it was of any value to you, make sure to let me know. If you have any comments or recommendations, or you want to tell me how your hotkeys are set up, feel free to do so. I'll probably link the Discord in here if you want to message me, or you can just let me know in the comments. And I hope you have a great day.